Friends, welcome to a new session in web application development using Flask. So we are moving a bit away from the actual coding of web application development. Now in this session we are going to see how to handle the MySQL and how to handle the connectivity of Python with MySQL. And after that, in the next session we are going to see how to handle the database with the help of the Flask. So let's start with this. In this particular video I'll be showing how to connect the MySQL software with the Python programming language. So what exactly the SQLs are? So basically SQL is it's a generalized programming query based language by which we can connect to the table oriented databases. So database is a location where the data can be stored in structure or in non-structured format. So in this video, in this session, we'll be seeing how to connect the structured databases to the Python. Python contains standard for database interfaces, that is Python DB APIs. Most of the APIs adhere to this standard. You can choose the right database for your application, like I have given some list of applications here like Gadfly, MSQL, MySQL, PostgreSQL. So many different SQL technologies are available which we can connect with the Python programming language, and then we can use it as a backend to store the data, and front end will be your HTML or the Flask. Okay, so DB API provides a minimal standard for working with databases using Python structures. So basically 4 steps are involved, but before actually doing these 4 steps, I'll show you how to use the database first, and then we'll go for the database APIs here. So let's see, I'll just open the web browser. We'll download the MySQL. So just go to Google and download MySQL. So it's free and open source, so you just can download it from their website. Here you can download the MySQL community server. Currently 5.7 is available. You can download on your Windows operating system. I'm using Linux. I'll show how to do this in Linux also. Okay, so here you can check the multiple downloads are available. You can find from either customer download or the trial downloads. You can download it, install in your system. Okay, no fees, no charges are required there. You can directly download from the given location. I'll just show you www.mysql.com/downloads. So once you download and install the MySQL, you will get a command prompt. Okay, a command prompt will be available, and with the help of command prompt we can perform many operations to handle the databases. Out of many operations, 4 common operations we do. So just download it from here and install it. So you will get a command prompt. I'll show you on Linux how I get the command prompt. Same command prompt is available there. There is no any difference. Only the difference is of the way that we interact with this. Such like this command prompt will be available with you to use. So in Linux I will use the command like MySQL -u root -p. Okay, with the help of that I got this command prompt. And in Linux, if you want to install the MySQL, there is a command called as sudo apt install MySQL. Okay, tb. Okay, or we can have MySQL -server. This also can be used. We can install the MySQL server with the help of the given command. Once the server or the MySQL is installed, we'll get login to the system by this method. MySQL -u root is the username, which is the controller of MySQL, and P stands for password. You will ask for the password. When I enter the password, I will get the command prompt, something like that. In Windows also you will get the similar command prompt once you install the MySQL system on your Windows operating system. Now to use this database, its data is permanently stored over here in the form of the table. So to do this one, to handle it, to create the table, we have to create a database first inside it. So create a database. So let's create database, and for example the name is given as student. Create database student. This is to create the database. Okay, so student is already created. I am already having it. Or if you want to create another database like college, okay, it's already available there. By using this particular query, create database college, I can create the database which name is college, and then if you want to use it, I can use that by using the query use college. So it will go inside the database college, and inside this database I can create the tables. So if you want to store the information, you have to create a table. So that table will be created inside the database. So I am using college database now. Now inside collect database, I have to create the tables. So to create the tables, there is a query called as create table, and let's use the table name like okay, so college is given, so let's create the call table name as class, just an example. Okay, check it out. So create table class and then values. Okay, sorry, not values, create table class, and here you have to mention the structure of it. Structure means, for example, I want to create a table of a class which roll number, name and marks are stored. So let's have roll integer format, name in varchar format. Varchar means just like a string, 10 characters, and the marks which is in floating point format. So you can mention in this way to create a table. Roll number, name and the marks, 3 entries I have done. If you want to check the structure of this table, so I can write describe class. See this, roll number, name and marks, 3 different columns are created in it, and now I can insert the data inside. This is the first operation, create. After that we have to insert the information inside it. Just look at the queries. These are the queries by which you insert the data. We'll be using this query in the Python program also to connect the system to the database here. So insert into class. Class is the table name, okay, and then values. So you have to mention the sequence like roll number 1 Ajay 57.89. okay. Okay, so one row I have inserted. Likewise I can insert another row also. Okay, check it out. So 3 entries I will be entering in it. Okay, fine. This is the insert query. We have inserted the information inside the table. The structure that we have created, we are following it. We are creating the query to insert the information. Now next second operation is read. I want to read it. For example, select star from, star means all the columns, and from the table name class. See this. So roll number, name and marks, this table is retrieved and it is printed on the screen like this. So for reading operations, select query is required. So select will read the whole table and will print it. Instead of star, I can specify the names of the columns also. That's a part of database operation that we can do onwards also. Now the third operation is the update. If I want to update something, so I can make use of update table name class set. For example, I want to change the marks of roll number 3. Okay, set marks is equal to, it was given 59, I will make 69, 69.12. So condition I will mention where roll number is equal to 3. Now see, rows matched 1, change 1. Now select and now check it, 69.12, which was having 59.12 previously, it is updated. This is the update query. I want to do the changes, and then where this condition matches, there it will be applied. Okay, and the last operation is delete. To delete from table name, okay, where, so I need to delete the row completely. For example, I want to delete roll number 3, roll is equal to 3. Okay, one row deleted, and see this. Now the table is not containing the row which was having roll number 3. So in this way, these queries are used to perform the operations on the table. The table is acting, or the database is acting as a backend to store the database information permanently in the structured format. If I want to control this kind of operations with the help of a Python program, so I can make use of this. So let's see how to do this one. First of all, I need to install the libraries for connecting with the MySQL. So to connect with the MySQL, I'll be making use of some libraries which are shown over here. Now see how to do this one. I just mentioned it here. Sudo pip3 install mysql-python. So if you are using Windows, the same package we have to use, pip install. Okay, so install mysql-python. So this package is required. You can install this package by downloading from the pipes repository. If you are having the Anaconda on Windows, or if you are having pip on Windows, remember that the name of the package which I mentioned here, mysql-python. Okay, so this is required to perform the operations to install it. So some updations are there, but I am having that package already installed in my system. I can make use of another mechanism also, which is showing some error. Config parser method is having an error here, so I can use one more method, apt install python 3 dash mysql db. So this is also one of the package that I can install. It's already available in my system, and making use of this I'm installing it. So previous case, package name you have to mention, and by using any Python installer you can install that package. So that is the API by which you can connect your Python with the MySQL. So there are 4 steps that we can do to perform the operation, like import the API module, acquire the connection, issue the SQL statement, and then close the connection likewise. So these operations we can do with the help of the Python API. So installation is finished and completed. Now after that we can write a Python program to interact with the respective table. So I'll keep this table over here. Okay, let's see this. This is my table, small table, which I already created, and we'll see insert and the select, these two common operation from this particular table. Even update and delete can also be done, but our prime focus will be on the insert and select operation, because these are the very commonly used operations required to handle a project which is web oriented. Okay, so let's open a new file, and now here I'll be performing the operation to handle the database. So I'll be creating my front end, and based on that your back end MySQL will be handled. So the first thing is I'll perform the operation to read the data. So let's import MySQL DB. Okay, so let's see this, like db1.py. I will create import MySQL DB. Okay, once it is imported, you have to create the connection to this database, connection database. So how to create it? For example, I'm creating con is equal to MySQL DB dot connect. Okay, it contains 4 parameters there. The first parameter is the location of the database. Localhost is my own computer is present there. Okay, localhost. After that I have to mention the username, which is by default root. After that you have to mention the password. If password is not assigned, then keep this empty spaces should, empty brackets will be there, so nothing is present inside this. And last, the database name which you have to interact with. Okay, so location of the database, then the username, password if it is empty, so keep it empty, not even a space also, and the database which you have to connect. Okay, so I have created the connection object. After that you have to create a cursor object which is responsible for executing the queries on the table. Cursor object, how to create it? Cursor is equal to con dot cursor, this way. Okay, cursor object will be created. Now once it is created, I can execute the queries onto it now on the particular database. So how to execute that? So let's see this. For example, data is equal to cursor dot execute. Okay, so cursor object is created. Now cursor dot execute. In between that you have to execute or write the query. Select star from class. Okay, select star from class. So from class all the columns will be retrieved, and that will be stored in the variable data, and from that variable data I need to fetch either single row or multiple rows. Fetch means it's a result set actually, which contains a virtual table created, and from that you have to retrieve the whole information or few part of the information. So I just retrieve the whole information there. Okay, just like table is equal to data dot, okay, fetch all. Okay, it will fetch all the information in the table, and from that table I will print one by one information on the screen. So table contain the collection of rows and columns. So let's read row by row. So for row in table, first row will be taken and will print that row is containing 3 information. Basically table is retrieved: roll number, name, and a marks. So let's print roll, not roll, sorry, roll number is in row of 0, okay, comma, row of 1 comma row of 2, okay, like this, and at the end close the connection. Okay, so let's close the connection. Check it out. So I have connected to localhost with the respective information, created the cursor, then executed the query, and that query is resulting a table. That's why I'm using fetch all. Okay, fetch all. Fine. Okay, sorry, just a minute, it's a spelling mistake there. Execute, cursor dot execute, like this, and after that we will use the cursor here. Yeah, cursor dot fetch all. Let's see if it's having that. Okay, I'll show the code for that which I have created here. Check it out. So executed, and then we are fetching the information here. Sorry, this was extra variable I've used. Cursor dot execute. Let's start from the table name. It will create the retrieve result, and that result I am fetching all in the table. From table one by one row, from one row roll number name marks, the second row roll number name marks, next row roll number name marks, and finally when the retrieval is completed, close the connection. Okay, now let's try this, run. Now let's check it out. Let's executing the code and check it out. Now see, this is your output of the code. We have whatever data we have inserted, that is shown over here. See this. Okay, so by this method we can retrieve the information. The table data is retrieved. We just can check it out now. Here if you go to the respective table, same information is there. If I am inserting one more, let's see this. Okay, so I have inserted one more row there, and select. So you can check it out. 3 information are there. We'll go to your program again, and now I'll run this code again. See, it's retrieved. Yeah, now 3 things are retrieved from that. So in this way we can use the select query to retrieve the information from the respective table by connecting the Python program to it. Select queries. Now just like that we can perform more operations. So this is how we retrieve one by one, and one by one row I am taking one by one field from that and print it. Now let's do the insert operation. Okay, I'll just create a copy of it here because it will be easy for me to perform the operations now. Okay, now let's insert it. So let's use db2.py. Okay, now see, so I need to insert some data, some kind of information inside it. So what we will do, we'll read that information from the user and then we will insert. So let's read the roll number equal to integer of input. Okay, so enter roll. Okay, let's enter the roll number, and just like that we'll enter the name also. Okay, so name is not required to typecast, and third is the marks. Okay, so here it is name. Okay, check this, enter the marks, and then we'll formulate a query here. Query, okay, so by using method insert into class values. Okay, so here we'll have %t comma %s comma %f. Okay, it's completed, and then percent will have our information like roll, name, marks. Okay, check it out. Insert into class values %d, %s, %f. It's completed here, and then instead of %d I'll put roll number, then name, and then marks, like that, and then we'll execute our query over here. Okay, just like query, execute that query. When the query is executed, one more thing that we need to remember, that this is modifying the content of the table. Select is not modifying it, it's not the data manipulation language. So insert is modifying the content of the table. That's what is called as data manipulation language. When you are using data manipulation language, we have to perform the operation of commit, like this, commit the changes. So changes will be applied and then we are closing the connection. So this is how we can insert the information into it, created the query and then executed it and then committed and close. We are reading the information from the user. So let's try that. Yeah, so I'm reading the information from the user. So let's see this. I'm entering roll number 4 and marks. Okay, operations are done, and let's try that whether it's actually there inside a table. Now see, I'll go to the interface of database and now see it's entered. See this, which I have entered from the users, modified and enter into the table. And if you go to run the previous program, for this case also we will check that the output, see the data you have entered from the user is stored into the table like that. So this is the way that you execute the insert query. Similar to that, we can try the delete and update query also if you want to make some changes inside a table. So we'll be making use of that queries also. So this is how simple is that we can connect a MySQL database with Python, and we can control that with the help of a program also. So whatever programming controls, programming statement that you are learning in Python, we can apply it here as per your identity, and we can apply it here. The core concept of database connectivity should be known, will be done in that way. See, so I've specified with different examples how to perform the operations with that. So this is how insert is done. I'm using try and except actually, because if any error is there, then we have to perform the operations. So in the session of Flask and database connectivity, I will show you how to do these operations there. See, so when you execute that, what operations are done, then read operations that will be doing by using the fetch all. This is systematically done here, how to perform the operations. Okay, updating it also, update the table, update query I am using. Update is also the DML query that we have to write the commit operation there, and delete is also the DML query to write the commit operation there. It is required and that is compulsory, by which you can perform the operations of handling the database more effectively. So this is how MySQL is handled. Python and MySQL connectivity is done. Now we are going to make use of this concept into the Flask and database connectivity, where the database is created at the server side, which will be controlled by a Flask application, and will create a any application which will be having a database as backend and storing the persistent data, continuous permanent data basically inside the database to handle the further operations with that. So just try that and check the database working in your system or not. Thank you. Thanks a lot.